Hey guys, just got some big news, some changes that are going to be happening to the college education world that are coming out of Washington. If you want a college degree, you've been thinking of going back to college, or you have a kid or kids that are thinking about going back to college, things are going to start to change a little bit, and we need to get into how you're going to be affected. We're going to talk about some big changes coming to the college accreditation world and some big changes that are coming through the funding world, okay? Government grants, FAFSA, Pell grants, government student loans, things like that. Tweaks are being made and changes are happening, and we're going to dive into this. If you don't know who I am, my name's Ryan. I am not a news guy. I am a YouTuber that teaches people how to earn college degrees really, really fast. And this stuff is going to affect college students, and that's why I'm sharing this news. I earned my bachelor's degree in 9 months. I've helped others earn bachelor's degrees as quickly as 3 months. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's by self-studying and testing out of your classes and not having to go through the college system of homework and study guides and lesson plans and essays and all the stuff we hate about college. Here's the thing, this will have an effect on college students. If you want to learn more about the acceleration stuff, I'll leave some links down below in the video description. You can go learn more. But let's dive into these big government changes so that you know what's going to be happening for your college journey or your kids' college journeys with these changes. Now, first, let's talk about what's happening with college accreditation. There are going to be some big changes here. And essentially what's been happening for years and years and years is there have been these 6 college accreditation commissions that regionally accredit or give regional accreditation to colleges and universities. So something crazy like 85% of colleges and universities in the country are accredited by these agencies or institutions, okay? So there's an agency or institution in charge of each basically area of the United States. And guess what? If a college does not have these accreditation or regional accreditation, the college just isn't as good. End of story. Like they don't reach the bar of quality of education that most of the other schools do. So you just don't attend those schools. They can't give government grants in most cases and things like that. Now, long story short, there's been a battle between Democrats and Republicans, and I'm going to stay neutral on this and just give you information. Republicans feel like they're way too liberal. Liberals or Democrats are really happy with how things are going. It just kind of depends on which side of the fence you sit on. But Biden, basically new accreditation agencies tried to come and apply for accrediting status, and he pushed pause on them and shut them down and said, nope, these 6 are the ones we're going with. Well, some news that we just got, Education Department announces reforms to college accreditation process. Now, what's happening is, yes, we've seen some stuff since Trump took office where he's basically fining universities and putting more stipulations in place for these agencies. But one of the big changes they just announced is that they are going to start making it easier for new agencies, new accreditation agencies, to break through and be able to offer these services for colleges and universities. So they basically sent a Dear Colleague letter and let them know that these changes would be happening. They're going to unpause for new applications, and they're going to basically make the barrier for accreditation agencies to come in and offer these services easier. Now, what they're saying is we must foster a competitive marketplace both amongst accreditors and colleges and universities in order to lower college costs and refocus post-secondary education on improving academic and workforce outcomes for students and families. Okay? Now, a few predictions that I have with this, and then we're going to get into funding, because funding, like getting government grants, that's important stuff. So we got to get into that. But here's some predictions on accreditation. Colleges and universities are going to choose accreditors that have been approved by the government so that they can offer government grants, Pell grants. Okay, if you go fill out the FAFSA form online, you can fill out this form and get free college tuition if you don't have a lot of money. That's kind of how it works. Accreditation is less important to these universities than the funding aspect of this. These universities want to give their students or offer their students these Pell grants so that they get that money. About 1/3 of students in the United States take advantage of Pell grants. So if a big time college or university all of a sudden cannot qualify to offer Pell grants, they lose a third of their business. Like it just disappears overnight. Colleges and universities, they're about money. They are businesses. So that's what's important. So what's going to happen is we're going to see these agencies come in. We're going to have more competition in these agencies. But the big thing is going to be, okay, which of these agencies are going to get approved by the government so that Pell Grants can be offered to the schools with those types of accreditations? We kind of don't know what's going to happen there and how many agencies there are going to be, but I don't know. We'll kind of have to wait and see on that. So let's dive into funding. Now, if you don't know about government funding, you should, especially if you want a college degree. You go to the Federal Student Aid government website. You go to studentaid.gov, the Federal Student Aid website, and you fill out the FAFSA form, free application for federal student aid. And basically, you fill out this form, give income information, and guess what? You get free college if you can't afford it. Well, some announcements have been made. Republicans are proposing some changes to student aid. Now, they're talking about basically a student loan overhaul. They don't want to lend as much money and new Pell Grant rules. This is a Forbes article, and a few big changes are being proposed. If we scroll down here and look deeper, basically, like it says, about a third of undergrad students are using Pell Grants, and they're going to start with new borrowing limits. If you look at these, you think like, man, they're taking money away from us. These are actually pretty similar to the old borrowing limits. Basically, for an undergrad, you can borrow up to 50 grand, 100 grand for graduate students, and 150 grand for like doctorate program type students. So that's not a huge change. There are some big changes though. Basically, instead of like the current, I think it's like 37 grand for dependents and like 52 grand for independent students, kind of depends on tax stuff, but it's going to be 50, 100, 150. That's not a huge change. And that's still plenty of money to go get your college degree, unless you're wanting the government to pay for you to go to like some Ivy League school or something. Like if you're just going to a normal school, you should be able to put a huge dent in this. And guess what? If you do it right, I teach students how to do this. This is like way, way, way more than you actually need to get a college degree if you're accelerating. We can get into that in a second. Now, loan repayment plans are going to be changing as well. Basically, if you borrow under a certain amount of money, you're going to have to repay it in less time. So if you borrow 25 grand, you'll have like 10 years to repay instead of being on like a 40-year repayment plan. The thing I actually like about that is students are like taking out student loans for like 30 and 40 years. Like it's crazy amounts of time. And they don't realize how much interest they're paying over that span. A lot of students will be like, I've been making my payments for years and years and years, and I still owe almost the exact same amount. It's because they're paying so much interest. So this will lower interest, which is a good thing. Now, the biggest, most major change that we are going to see is who actually qualifies for Pell Grants. Okay, if you fill out that FAFSA form, free money to pay for your college tuition. Here, this is pretty crazy actually. Right now, you have to be taking 12 semester hours per year to qualify for grants. That's like 3 college classes per year to be able to qualify for grants. Now, this new bill proposes making that limit 30 semester hours per year. That's 15 credit hours per semester if you're doing 2 semesters. If you're doing 3, then obviously it breaks down a little bit different. But 30 semester hours per year is being a full-time student. So you're going to have to be a full-time college student to receive these government grants. And a lot of people don't have time for that. Luckily, there are some solutions I'm going to share with you that make it a whole lot easier. But that's a massive change. Like to say to an adult student, hey, by the way, you have to be a full-time college student that's going for 40, 45 hours a week to college between like class time and homework on top of your job. And let's say you have a wife and kids, things like that. That can be pretty harsh. Now, here is something that is a major, major solution to this. You guys can leave your opinion on this below. I'm kind of undecided because I would never spend 4 years going to college because I got a bachelor's degree in 9 months as a part-time student, like putting in 15 or 20 hours a week for 9 months, and I got my bachelor's degree. So this has zero effect on me, so I don't really have an opinion. I would never do this. I would never go to school for 4 years. I dropped out of traditional school and didn't go. Now, here's my solution, because this is a big change. If you're worried about like, I don't want to be a full-time student, you don't have to. You can earn very, very easily 30 credits per year with like spare time on the side if you do things right. What I want to point you to is what are called competency-based education programs offered by colleges and universities. This is an example, Western Governors University. They have a business school, a tech school, a health and nursing school, an education school. And they're like, for an online school, they're like the most trusted school out there for like getting you into grad programs and getting good jobs. They have like really good record for job placement, things like that. There are also some big brick and mortar schools, like some on-campus schools that have online programs that are fully self-paced. This is called University of Massachusetts Global. If we go into their academic programs, you can filter for online self-paced. These self-paced programs are way easier, and I'll show you why they're easier in just a second. But UMass Global has like a bunch of business and tech degrees that are totally online, totally self-paced. Like you can go get a degree in 6 or 12 months and they're really inexpensive. Another example would be Purdue University. They have this online branch of their school called Purdue Global. If you go into their degree programs, let's use business as an example. They have what are called these Excel track programs. As you can see, like business administration, they have a traditional Bachelor of Science and they have an Excel track Bachelor of Science. Traditional Masters of Business Administration or MBA, Excel track MBA. These Excel track programs are fully self-paced. Now, there are a lot of schools like this. I'm showing you 3 because I don't want you to sit here and just listen to me go through schools. But these schools, I love these because they're self-paced and they're not self-paced in the same way as other schools. Other schools will say like, hey, all your classes are self-paced. Go through all the video lectures on your own time. Do all your homework on your own time. Do your group projects and your essays on your own time. But you still have to follow like the formal system or the formal structure of an online school. Well, with competency-based programs, they're self-paced, but you're not required to learn the material through the school. You just have to prove that you've learned the material. What I do, if you're like, how does this guy teach people how to get degrees so fast? I teach students how to like figure out what you need to learn and then go learn it on your own and then come prove to the school that you've learned it. If you're wondering like, how do I learn faster on my own? Well, schools have textbooks and homework and lesson plans and group projects and study guides and all this stuff that we don't like about school, right? We can learn really easily. Like you can go to YouTube and learn. You can use AI and learn. Basically, it's taking college level material and learning it like with modern resources and then proving to the school that we've learned it. I hope that makes sense. Now, if you do want to learn more about how to do this, again, I'll leave some links down below in the video description. Like you tap on the video title with your thumb and it will show you some resource links down at the very top of that description. And you can go learn more about how I teach students how to do this. I hope this video about these changes has been valuable to you. Like and subscribe. Check those links out below. I'll talk to you in the next video.